This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghosh.
Hi there, a very warm welcome to you from a very cold New Delhi. There has been uproar in Parliament over the possibility of a court in Russia banning a translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Today, Foreign Minister S.M. Krishna said the government was taking the controversy seriously and was closely monitoring this case. But the BJP is not satisfied. It has even asked the government to declare the Gita as India's national book. Should the Gita be India's national book? That's our debate. First, a report from Altamash Hashmi.
When politics and religion are mixed, the result can be an explosive cocktail, which is why these pictures have made the government nervous. In Parliament, Minister Krishna hoped that Russia would act appropriately on the Bhagavad Gita controversy, but he could not promise that the sacred book wouldn't be banned.
We have also taken up this matter at the senior levels of the Russian government. The Ministry of External Affairs has been in regular touch with our embassy in Moscow on this issue.
The government believes it can't do more than that because it's a Siberian court that has to decide on a ban on 28th December. But South Bloc is hopeful because the court has asked academics and Indologists to help it decide if parts of the Russian translation of the Gita penned by the ISKCON founder are extremist in nature or not. And India has also got support from the Russian government.
We are hopeful that the case will be considered in a favorable and very positive manner.
But the critics haven't been satisfied.
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता को राष्ट्रीय पुस्तक घोषित किया जाए ताकि कोई भी देश कभी इस पुस्तक का अपमान करने की हरकत ना कर सके.
There is also criticism that the government delayed its intervention, ignoring ISKCON's red alert on a possible ban, and alerts sent to the Prime Minister's office and to Sonia Gandhi on the 1st of November. With Parol in New Delhi, Altamash Hashmi.
Joining us tonight, Kancha Elaya, Dalit Bahujan intellectual and author, is joining us from Hyderabad. Right in our studio, Subramaniam Swamy, President of the Janata Party, Amog Leela Das, spokesperson of the ISKCON, and Pushpesh Pant, Professor of the Jawaharlal Nehru University. And we will also get you the views of Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, founder of the Isha Foundation, whom we spoke to earlier in the day. So I spoke a little earlier to Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. Let's hear from him. I began by asking the Sadhguru if he believed that the Bhagavad Gita should be declared as India's national book.
The Gita is about dharma. Dharma is not a religion, but the universal law. No human being is outside the universal law or the Sanatana Dharma. It is only a question of being conscious of it or not. So, generally most learned people on the planet have declared this book as the song of life, not just of a nation. So it is not a religious teaching, as it is not prescribing any sort of belief system. Gita is only pointing out the most common and deadly human folly, that is ignorance. That is to believe what I do not know cannot exist. So it is described as a song of life, not just India's song.
So it's a song of life, it's a humanist song, it's not just a national song, it's not just India's song.
No, I'm not saying it is not India's song, it is definitely for India also, but I'm saying it is a song of life. Universally it has been accepted as that. The present situation in Siberian court has mainly evolved, as I hear, as against a particular organization. To hurt that organization, they are contemplating such a step. So I think the government of India should act immediately to send a representative to handle this situation before it goes out of hand. As India and Russia has held a long-term, both politically and culturally, a very close relationship, let it not be marred by anti-Russia emotions and slogans going around. It should be handled immediately.
So the question has come up of banning the Bhagavad Gita in Russia. Many have said that this would be a terrible tragedy because the Gita remains very relevant to the modern world. What to you is the modern relevance of the Bhagavad Gita today?
The most significant aspect of the Gita is that it is telling you that there is no belief system is sacred enough to destroy life. It is mainly telling you to act appropriately in one's life, not from any kind of belief system, ideology, ethic, but to act in an appropriate manner as it is necessary for life that is there in front of you right now. So it is most relevant, not just today, it is always relevant, because it is talking about action. Action that a human being performs must be relevant to the situation in which he exists. It is not about right and wrong, but it is about the appropriateness of action.
So do you think the politicians are politicizing this issue? Parliament was in uproar today. Lalu Yadav, Sharad Yadav, the BJP, everybody on their feet demanding that action be taken against the Russian court and the Russian government. Do you think politicians are just politicizing this issue?
I don't think Gita has been politicized as such. I have never heard any leader, political leader, either BJP or otherwise, quoting Gita at any time. So I don't think it's been politicized. It is just that we have gotten into a mode, just because we speak in English language, anything that comes indigenously from this country, there is a certain kind of resistance all over the place, which is something definitely we have to wean people off, because worldwide, everywhere, anybody who's looked at life with a certain openness, particularly people like Albert Einstein, vouch by the Gita, you know. So when people who are considered to be the most intelligent people on the planet have always held Gita so high, I don't see why in India we are looking at it as a religious text. It's definitely not a religious text, and I don't believe that it is being politicized. I have never heard any political leader quoting from Gita as yet.
So the politicians may be on their feet demanding action against Russia, but no political leader has yet quoted from the Bhagavad Gita. That was Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev talking to me a little while earlier from Coimbatore. Let's now turn it over to our panelists. Should the Gita be India's national book? Subramanian Swamy, your views?
Why, I mean, the sentiment that it should be a national book, I am not objecting to, but the question is, it's not a practical proposition, because where do you stop? Then the secularists view that then every religious book should also be a national book. I think Gita is a national book anyway. You don't need to have it declared, but I certainly appreciate the sentiment that has been expressed that it should be treated as a national book, but I don't think there's a formal need for that.
So there's no formal need, but the sentiment that the Gita reflects and it talks to the majority of Indians cannot be denied. Kanchai Laya, does that resonance sound with you as well, that the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita represents a nationally, a sentiment that unites all Indians?
No, Sagarika, there are very serious different opinions about Bhagavad Gita. See, till Raja Ram Mohan Roy came into the picture, Bhagavad Gita was not seen as the essence of Hindu scriptures at all. It was Raja Ram Mohan Roy who said it is essence of Hindu scriptures. And then gradually it was most of the Western writers who tried to project Gita as a representative of Hindu religion, like Bible as the representative of Christianity, Quran as a representative of Islam. But the major discourse around Gita took place when Gandhi was carrying it as a sort of nationalist book, if you remember, and Ambedkar began to oppose that based on the ground that Gita also premises itself on the four Varna system. You know, it is in a way some sort of a preamble. Krishna says that Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam, I have created four Varnas.
So do you believe it represents Brahminical Hinduism? So do you believe the Gita represents Brahminical Hinduism? It doesn't talk to the Dalit Bahujan Samaj.
It also represents that. Yes, it in a way represents that in a more. But what is the core issue in the Siberian Code today? Now, I don't support anybody who wants to ban a book, but the core issue is that here is a book which is telling through the means of God that you must kill the enemy. And the enemies happen to be the brothers and the cousins of Arjuna himself. So they are trying to see any outsider when they read, Gita appears to be a book that preaches violence. Though Gandhi tried to project it as a book of non-violence, but there is an element of violence in the book itself.
Okay,
now how do we deal with that? And you know, my own understanding is, both Ambedkar and myself, you know, Mulayam Singh, Lalu Prasad are saying that this should also be made national book. But my feeling is, if Indian Constitution was to be written based on the morality of Bhagavad Gita, perhaps Mulayam Singh, Lalu Prasad as Yadavs would not have come into Constitution.
Okay, those are very strong views. Those are very strong views coming from Kancha Ilaiah. As always, very provocative views. Let me put them to you. Kancha Ilaiah seeming to suggest that the Gita is a book of Brahminical Hinduism, that it's a construction by the West who searched for Hinduism's holy book, when Hinduism has never had a holy book, unlike the Quran and the Bible.
I think the interpretation which Professor Kancha Ilaiah is putting is expected. He's reading into Gita a caste text and subtext and whatever. But I think much before Raja Ram Mohan Roy, millions in this country knew of Gita, lived by it. Is not a religious text to me at all. The beautiful thing about Gita is it's a complex, interesting text, is a dramatic text, the story is interesting, and you can dip into it and get out of it what you want. It's a very convenient.
But it should be used as a symbol of cultural nationalism.
No, but see, the point is, it is not a symbol of cultural nationalism. Why do we get into this sterile debate? Gita means a lot to the people in this country because A, it is not the distilled essence of Hinduism, Sanatan Brahminical Hinduism. It talks about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga. The most interesting chapter in Gita to my mind is the 17th chapter, which talks about food and talks about Sattvic.
So it cannot be seen as a manifesto of cultural nationalism. It cannot be seen as a blueprint in the way the BJP party is
interpreting. It is not a Bible, it is not a Quran. It is.
Let me get your views in here.
Yeah, you see, this Mr. Ilaiah is, as usual, doing propaganda, or he has not read the Gita. The Gita very clearly says that the Varna is not based on birth, it's based on gunas. Now, how can it be a casteist version of Hinduism?
Absolutely.
I mean, he should go and read the book instead of doing propaganda against it.
Kancha, do you want to respond, and then I'll get in Swami Leela Das?
Yeah. You know, Dr. Subramanya Swami, I read the book thoroughly and wrote about it. And Ambedkar read much more thoroughly than what you read. And Ambedkar, in his Riddles of Hinduism and Riddles of Gita, says that this is the book that promoted caste hierarchical structure as a penultimate book, starting from the Rig Veda itself. And then the essence of both Kautilya's Ardhashastra, I don't know whether you read Ardhashastra, but I read it, and Manudharma Shastra, the essence gets carried into this through the means of war.
You don't have any
Can you,
Shraddha.
Subramanya Swami, say that there is no use of weapon in Gita, there is no use of violence in Gita, and what is this majority-minority concept in Gita, and majority not owning land? You know, that is the major
so
idea.
there are lots of issues according to Kancha Ilaiah which many Indians may not identify with in the Gita. Let me come to you, Swami Amog Leela Das, spokesperson of the ISKCON. Before we proceed any further, can you tell us what exactly, because it is the translation of your founder, which is the one that is being banned in Russia. Can you tell us what are those portions in the version that your founder has written that are objectionable to the Russian courts?
Actually, Bhagavad Gita, like any other science, it's a science. So whenever we read a certain kind of science, it requires a person who is practicing it. That's like someone reads a medical book, he cannot claim that now I'm a doctor. So similarly, when someone reads Bhagavad Gita, he should first of all take shelter of someone.
No, but it's Prabhupada's version that is being sought to be banned, and they've called it extremist and objectionable. So what is it in Prabhupada's version of the Gita that the Russians are finding difficult?
I'm coming to that. Like for example, in chapter 8, verse number 7, Krishna says, Mam anusmara yuddhacha. Remember me and fight. So someone can say now it's an extremist book because Krishna is saying remember me and then fight.
It's a call to fight. It's a call to it's a militaristic call to arms.
No, not exactly.
That's how they are interpreting it.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, Krishna is saying that you must fight against a religion. So to fight against a religion which is being headed by the Duryodhan party, what's wrong in it? If
fight
any
against a
general can
religion.
say, yeah,
Irreligion.
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 He's
Right.
saying fight for the religion, fight against irreligion.
Okay.
And for us, the teaching is that we should fight against the inner evils, the lust, anger, greed, pride, envy. So if we fight against the inner evils, that's the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. What's wrong in it? If we become more pure in our consciousness, more become pure in our intelligence, in our perceptions, what's wrong in this?
So you believe it should be legally declared as India's national book?
Well, yes, it can be. Why? Because
Okay.
for the reason, first reason is that Bhagavad Gita was spoken here in India. Secondly, it speaks about science of soul. Now, soul can be in a Hindu body or a Muslim body or Christian body or whatever.
But the issue is, Pushpesh Pant, that Hinduism has never been a religion of the book. Has
Yeah,
it? That's
absolutely.
the whole
That's-
point, isn't
that's
it? I
what-
mean,
that's what
isn't the
I'm stating.
genius of Hinduism that it's not located in a book which gives its text? That it's not. There is no Quran. There is no
It's a guide, it's a
Torah.
guide to
there
living.
is-
It copes with the existential dilemma of a person who's stricken by nerve in the battlefield with a bad case of nerves. So the first verse is Uttachhaja. The Klajam Mas Magama Partha Natatoi Utpatete. I think the more interesting part about Gita is that what Professor Kancha Alaya was referring to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, much before that, people in their folk idiom know of Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dhati Pavaka.
Wow.
The whole point is, you say Karma Nevadhikaraste Mafalishu Kadachana, Yoga Karma Kaushalam. This is the distilled folk wisdom about how to cope with life and difficulties of life.
So is that the reason for the endurance of the Gita actually?
Oh,
Toughest
absolutely.
time immemorial, it has endured as a text.
May I just add to what he just said? You see, this shloka he quoted about not fighting for the fruit of the action, but for the righteousness of the action. That is now being taught even the American corporate circles. You see, as a way of relieving stress.
Yes.
Stress comes when you only identify
Right.
yourself with the objective.
So it's a highly modern text in that sense. It talks very well to the modern individual. But Kancha Alaya, you continue to believe that perhaps in a country of the Dalit Bahujan Samaj, of the 13% Muslim population, of our minority population, the diverse rainbow of India, the Bhagavad Gita should not be declared as a national book.
No, I think, asking for a book like that which has divisive elements within itself, it's one of the great books that one can read and one can look into history and one can see what happened in terms of certain cultural ethos. That is a different question. But if somebody, I'm surprised that today BJP is coming forward or somebody else is coming forward to say that this should be declared as national book. Now what does this mean? Now if you want it to be a religious book of your own, that is a different question. But if you want it to be a national book, that means you don't want to have diversity here and you don't want to have others believing in their own books.
Okay.
Now that's a very dangerous concept. When Gandhi carried the book, it was that message which was given. Therefore Ambedkar had a serious contestation against that message. Therefore it can be treated as a book written by, authored by Krishna. Yes, whatever views he had that views.
Right.
Whether we
So it's
agree
a
or
great book,
disagree,
but
that
it
is a
can't be a
different
national
question.
book.
But
It's
it
a
can't
great
be
book.
a national book.
It can't be a national book. Subramanian Swamy is saying it is de
Yeah,
facto
it
a
has
national
one
book, even though it may not be
dimension.
declared so. Pushpesh Pant saying it is in fact not even a holy book like the other holy books in the other religions. But and Leela Swami Leela Das saying that it should be the national book. But let's take a short break and come back and pick it up and take this further. The Bhagavad Gita be India's national book. This debate is happening because the BJP has voiced this demand at a time when a Russian court in Siberia is going to judge whether or not the Bhagavad Gita or a version of the Bhagavad Gita should be banned in Russia. Give us examples from the Bhagavad Gita, since you know it so well, as to how we can counter Kancha Alaya's argument that it is Brahminic, that it is located very squarely in the Hindu Brahminical tradition, and that it is not a call to arms.
No, one simple verse which says Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. What has got to do with caste system? Perform your job, whatever it be, with certain level of efficiency and integrity. Now, what is there to do with caste system? Now, if the caste system is based on birth, which nowhere in Gita says is based on birth, it would be a different
But
proposition.
what about the militaristic aspect? That it's a call to arms.
I'm sorry, the whole body is a metaphor for a Kurukshetra where a battle between good and evil, lust, anger, etc. takes place. When you say Namo Arihantaram, the Jaina mantra, I mean, the enemies are not without, they are within.
Okay, so should Muslims, Christians, can they identify with Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, there are many aspects of it which has got nothing to do with religion. As I said, the question of when do you earn bad karmas for a action of yours? When you identify yourself with for the fruit of the action. If you are doing a nishkam karma, then there is no bad karmas associated. Now this is totally neutral. Americans have written about it recently that why the Gita is being taught in the corporate circles in America, because this identification with the attainment of the objective, it certainly you must have an objective, but this identification with the attainment objective causes stress, and stress therefore leads to bad health. So Gita, there are plenty of it, but is it a call to arms? Of course there are occasions when there has to be a call to arms, especially after Krishna offered to take 5 villages. With Duryodhana won't even agree to 5 villages. At such a stage you have to go to war, and it's a just war.
It's a just war. Kancha, you want to come in?
Yeah, see, I don't know whether Subramanya Swami examined the whole evolution of Bhagavad Gita. He doesn't seem to have done that. Even in the Bhandarkar Institute, when they were standardizing the whole Mahabharata text, there was this debate, you know, even after Gandhi using it extensively in the nationalist period, whether this text can be put as the penultimate, you know, Vedantic text to present itself as a representative.
That's a good point.
Religion.
Can this be the only text of the Hindus? After there are the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Manusmriti, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, this is not the only text.
There is a historical fact that maybe there was no person called Adi Shankaracharya, but the original Tika of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is by Shankaracharya, which is the basis of the 700 shlokas, which form the text which is recognized.
Very quickly, Kancha, I interrupted you. You were saying?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is, you know, you work, but don't expect the fruits to take for yourself. This has really deceived the working masses of this country. The working masses work, but the fruits have gone to the minority like Pandavas.
Okay.
Therefore, the SC, ST, OBC minorities, when they read with consciousness, they are not conscious, that is a different question.
Okay.
Like Lalu
but Krishna was a Yadava, he was from the backward classes.
Krishna was a Yadava
like
and
me,
OBC.
That's a good point, Kancha. Krishna, in fact, was a Yadava, and Mulayam Singh Yadav and Lalu Yadav identify strongly with the Bhagavad Gita, in fact. Krishna himself being a Yadava, and Lalu and Mulayam consider themselves direct descendants of Krishna, in fact.
And Karna's assertion, Suto va Suta Putro va Yova Kova Bhava Miham Deva Yuttam Kule Janma Mada Yuttam Cha Paurusham, is Karna was a Sut Putra fighting and considered to be a better hero than Arjun on the battlefield.
Right, but I think that the interesting...
You know, but Sagarika...
Very quickly, Kancha.
Sagarika, can I just say one word? Yeah, see, if, you know, the Yadavas in the north and south own Krishna as their god. Now there are two things here. If Krishna was the god of Yadavas, which I also come from a sect of Yadava community,
right,
is their god, why not they are priests in the temples of Krishna? Why the priest between the god and the people is a Brahmin? So, see, in the entire text, they have not he has not empowered.
Okay, so it's in that sense,
absolutely
right. So in that sense, the Gita, according to Kancha Raya, does not reflect the aspirations and the emotions of all Indians. It reflects only the Brahminic elite. It doesn't reflect that the Bahujan Samaj is a call to. Is there a single book that can do that? But I think you made a very good point that it's not a recognizably religious or orthodox book. It is in fact a song of life, as Swami Sadhguru said. Subramaniam Swami saying it is in de facto a national book, and Leela Das saying it should be declared legally a national book. It should be.
Actually, we see that actually there are misinterpretations of the Bhagavad Gita. Just like someone said that one can realize God by having ice creams. and that is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So we may ask that person, okay, which verse of the Bhagavad Gita mentions that?
Right.
So he may say Yum Yum Vapi Smaran Bhavam, because Yum Yum is a brand of ice cream in US.
So it is that
that's why by having ice cream one can go.
So it is that kind of popular anarchism which is the secret of its success in a way.
So
and you were saying that there is no mention of the word Hindu as well in the Bhagavad Gita. There's no mention of the word Hindu anyway. Thank you very much indeed. We're completely out of time. Kancha Ilaiah, Subramaniam Swamy, Amog Leela Das, Pushpesh Pant. Thanks very much indeed to the Gita, India's national book. 66 are saying yes. Thanks for watching.